Hey guys, it's Brian here. Our Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show Facebook group is the place to be when you're not listening to the podcast. It's meant as a complement to the show, a place for you to ask questions and share your experiences. It's a true community, a judgment-free zone where folks truly want to help you succeed below the rim. Whether you're a newbie or a vet, it just doesn't matter. It's a safe space where you'll have access to me and just about everyone you've ever heard on the show. That's the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show Facebook group. You're all invited. We hope to see you soon. Now on to the show. What a week in the canyon. Wild weather, flash floods, and a reminder that dropping below the rim is serious business. My name is Brian Special, and this is the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show presented by Bright Angel Outfitters. Hey, the Rim to Rim Hiking Club t-shirts are here, a unique vintage design to commemorate your joining the club of those who have taken on the Grand Canyon's most iconic hike. It's part of a full Rim to Rim collection of tees, women's cuts, and hoodies, all available exclusively at brightangeloutfitters.com. You can get 10% off your purchase with the code HIKERDUDE. That's good for everything, including our Rim to Rim pack, the 22-liter day pack designed for canyon hikes, but suitable for any day hike on Earth. With front pockets for phones, bottles, and more, you can keep on moving. The Rim to Rim pack, designed so you can hike your best hike. Again, use the code HIKERDUDE for 10% off your purchase. Your purchases do directly support this show. Get it all at brightangeloutfitters.com. Okay, later, my conversation with a pair of Floridians who I connected with at the bottom of the canyon last week. But first, let's talk about everything that happened in the canyon on that very day. Unbeknownst to me, as I dealt with the monsoon storms rolling through myself, was what was happening about 70 river miles downstream from the Phantom Ranch area at Havasupai. As you probably know, Havasupai is the home of the world-famous Havasu Falls, a spectacular waterfall that cascades into the blue-green water below. Havasu Falls is a part of a series of waterfalls along Havasu Creek, including Mooney Falls and Beaver Falls, which eventually spill into the Colorado River about 8 miles downstream from Havasu Campground. Havasupai, of course, a major tourist attraction, which has a lottery for the limited permits available, which means it can take years of planning and hoping just to be able to go. Everything at Havasupai is supported by and the economic engine for the Havasupai tribe and the village of Supai, which is at the bottom of the canyon 2 miles from Havasu Falls. Havasupai roughly translates to the people of the blue-green water, and one of the biggest challenges the tribe faces is flash flooding. When that happens, Havasu Creek can turn into a brown and raging torrent and not only redirect and change the aesthetic of the falls and the pools they fall into, but tear through the campground's limited infrastructure with little warning, putting tourists' lives at immediate risk. I actually remember that threat from the early 90s when a couple of buddies and I, just outside high school age, started to get worried during a storm in the middle of the night at Havasu, and instead of taking our chances, we just packed up right then and there and hiked on out. In hindsight, I'm actually surprised we were that smart at that age. But last week, chaos did visit Havasupai on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024, when monsoon thunderstorms that the National Weather Service said dumped between 1 and 2 inches of rain in less than an hour produced just what we are describing. Ultimately, that led to more than 100 campers and hikers being evacuated and stranded in Supai, unable to make the 8-mile hike out from there because the trail was damaged and impassable. So they were all eventually helicoptered out to their vehicles. Those were the lucky ones. Some really got themselves caught because they were hiking far downstream of Supai as they made the popular day hike to Havasu Creek's confluence with the Colorado, which is 10 miles downstream of the village. Well, when there's a flood upstream, it's only a matter of time before it makes its way downstream, of course, and not everyone was able to scramble to safety. One 33-year-old Shanoa Nickerson, who was hiking with her husband, was swept away in the flood about a half-mile upstream of the river. Sadly, her body was found just this past Sunday by those on a commercial river trip, almost 20 miles downriver of the confluence. There is so much damage in the area of Havasupai Falls that Arizona's governor authorized the National Guard to go in and help. and the tribe has shut down the area to tourists indefinitely. Flash floods can just be devastating, and they can happen just about anywhere in the canyon and with almost no warning, like we said. Even in places where you haven't seen a drop of rain, they can strike because they can originate miles away and take longer than you think to make their way to the river. So, how can you stay safe? Well, not too long ago, we spoke about this with our friend and regular contributor to the show, Dr. Tom Myers, co-author of Over the Edge, Death in Grand Canyon, as well as a pamphlet meant for hikers to stuff in their backpacks for their trip called How Not to Die in the Grand Canyon. When it comes to flash floods, I wasn't really, aware of how, quickly they can happen is one part of it. But the second part of it is how when you're in the canyon, they can happen in places where the storms are miles and miles away. And you might be in a spot that, it doesn't look like there's anything going on. And next thing you know, you could have a flash flood on top of it.
I think the flash floods, fortunately with flash floods in Grand Canyon, there are a lot of happy endings, where people did survive. There's a lot of warning signs about the flood coming, but it's part of the grand deception. If you're in a narrow slot, and Grand Canyon is so big that you have this little slit of sky that you see above you, and it's fluffy white clouds or no clouds, it's blue sky, and just miles away, way up canyon, like say, for example, on the North Rim, there's a huge storm cell, a monster downpour over a large drainage area that all funnels into that slot that you're down in. You won't see that. And so that's the problem. It's the monsoon gamble. Monsoon season is the worst. I call it that. That if you choose to go in a slot, especially in the monsoon season, where most of these storms happen mid-afternoon, it's like be prepared to know that this could be the case, and you do have some warning signs that might help you survive one. The most lethal flash floods, the big giant ones in Grand Canyon, usually take an hour or two to make it all the way down where they're maybe a tidal wave, just a huge lethal wave, and they come with a change in sort of the subtle change in the air around you. You might feel a draft come down the canyon. You might see even animals running down canyon. You might hear or sense a shift in the wind, and then you'll have this roar that will precede the flood. The big ones, it might be even a minute or two. You'll hear this rumble coming, and you get that, you need to get out of there as fast as possible. So if you're down in a slot and you think, and you choose to go in during a time where there is a chance for a storm, you have to look for escape routes, exit plan. Could I run through this in a sprint? Most people get out sprint a flash flood, an open field sprint. The problem, if it's boulder choked drainage, you're not. So you got to figure a way to get up and out away from it. If it's slick wall slot, you're not. So you shouldn't be in there at all. But flash floods, just don't go in a narrow slot, during monsoon season. That's the easiest way to do it. If you do choose to go in, if you go in the morning before the afternoon monsoon, you have a better chance of not getting caught in one. But they can happen any time of the day.
Yeah, any time of day in about any part of the canyon. Yes, that includes the corridor trails, especially North Kaibab, much of which runs beside Bright Angel Creek, especially in the box. And also on Bright Angel, where there are many drainages, especially below Havasupai Gardens, where there are several creek crossings. Yes, flash floods are rare, but they are possible, very possible, and you always have to be aware, especially in monsoon season. Now, that same day, I was on the corridor trails myself, knocking out a South Kaibab to Bright Angel rim to river. I'd been watching the forecast, and it seemed too good to be true, with high temperatures in the 70s on the rim and the upper 80s at the river, almost unheard of for August. So off I went, dropping in just after 12:30 in the afternoon under cloud cover and pleasant temperatures. I could see across the canyon to the north rim, which looked like it was getting bombarded with rain and lightning, something that I figured I would have to deal with eventually. But it didn't matter at the time. I was excited. This was an opportunity on a late summer day, and I was looking forward to the adverse conditions because I'd somehow never managed to hike in a real rainstorm, a real downpour in the canyon before. And I did have a goal. I needed to be at Bright Angel Campground at the bottom of the canyon around 3 for a podcast interview with someone from our Facebook group. Well, what I got was the most memorable canyon hike I have ever had. Well, if you ever wondered what it was like down here at the bottom of the canyon in monsoon season, I'm finding out right now for sure. This is Bright Angel Creek, and you can see Black Bridge off there in the distance. And there's thunder and lightning and rain, and I'm under this overhang right now, right by the beginning of Bright Angel Campground. And I'm about to head out, got the rain slicker on, and got to get up Bright Angel. It's about 4 o'clock, about 3 hours of daylight left, I would say. So probably won't make it during daylight, but this is going to be interesting. Coming down, I saw some of the most spectacular sights that I have ever seen. I would call it probably the best experience that I've had hiking the canyon so far, and that's because it's the middle of August. It's August, getting close to the end of August. It's August 22nd, and the high today was only supposed to be in the 80s at the bottom down here, and it's probably in the 70s right now, honestly, and in the 70s on the rim. So it's like a once in a summer kind of day where the conditions are perfect, where it's not hot. And I will take this rain and this kind of weather over 110 degrees anytime, because you really can't hike this time of the day if it's a normal summer day. So this is special. And the things that I saw on the way down, waterfalls off in the distance because of all the rain. So water pouring off the cliffs, and the thunder, when there would be big claps of thunder, it just reverberates off of the canyon walls for like 20 or 30 seconds. The different light, the rays of light, the clouds covering the Zoroasters, and the low clouds over the canyon. It was just scenes that I have not seen before with my own eyes. And I already think this is the most beautiful place in the world, and that the South Kaibab Trail is the most incredible trail in the world. And what I saw today, it took it to the next level. So this has already been just an incredible rim to river experience. Then I came down here to the bottom, and I met a couple of people from the Facebook group who listened to the show, and did a podcast interview with them, which was great. Bethany Pace and her husband Randy. And now I've left them. They went off to have their stew dinner at Phantom Ranch, and I'm headed back up to the South Rim via Bright Angel. But the weather's bad. It's raining really hard right now. I'm under this overhang again, and just gonna have to deal with it. And again, it's okay, because it's not 110 degrees. So there's no sense in just waiting around here. Let's just get after it. All right, here we go. Woo! I love the canyon.
And you should have seen the Colorado River, absolutely raging with its caramel-colored rapids. And after Silver Bridge and that mile-long stretch to River Rest House, I again saw numerous waterfalls on both sides of the river in an environment that I've only ever seen at its driest. It was just absolutely amazing. One of the true highlights of my life, and the most unforgettable hike for sure that I have ever had. I did do a long post on the experience in our Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Facebook group, along with a ton of photos documenting the day, so I do hope you will check that out. Man, it was spectacular. It is a canyon like I have never seen it. By the way, there was almost no one on the trails. From before Skeleton Point on South Kaibab all the way to Bright Angel Campground, I saw no one. And on Bright Angel, on the way out, I came across one young couple before Devil's Corkscrew, and after that, for 7 miles, I only saw a lone ranger on her way down at 3 Mile Rest House. Other than that, not a single soul. Pretty surreal day. All right, well, in between storms at Bright Angel Campground on the banks of Bright Angel Creek, I was lucky enough to spend some time with Bethany and Randy Pace, who were on their very first day of a 6-day rim to rim to rim, and staying at Phantom that night. We were all oblivious to what was happening downriver at Havasupai. We were just excited to be where we were. I do have to mention that you will hear some wind noise during this interview. We had a brief window before another storm started just rolling in right on top of us. So it got windy, and this would be the one that would ultimately soak me on my return trip to the South Rim. So it kind of got me twice, with the wind and then with the rain on the way out. So we were dealing with the elements as we recorded, so just be warned of that. And here now is that conversation on the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, presented by Bright Angel Outfitters. Okay, so we're down here at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and I hope the water in the background, the running water, isn't distracting to everyone. But if it is, deal with it. You know why? That's Bright Angel Creek. That's one of the prime arteries running right through the center of the Grand Canyon. So we're just gonna, look at that as something that's gonna accentuate this whole experience. And I'm down here with Bethany and Randy Pace, who are here all the way from Florida in the middle of a 6-day rim to rim to rim. They're gonna go up to the North Rim for the first time ever, which I think I'm as excited about as they are, because they get to see the North Rim, see what that's all about. But Bethany, just kind of describe where we are right now, because this is pretty cool.
This is cool. This is the basement. This is the best part of the canyon, I think. It's kind of where the water runs through. Everything kind of gets cleansed a little bit in my mind. I don't know, you can hang out in the creek and chill, relax, get some food at Phantom Ranch. It's my favorite part. I love this spot.
And you guys are staying at Phantom Ranch tonight, and we got to get this done so you can get to your dinner tonight. What are we having, stew or steak tonight?
Stew. We are stew eaters. He's getting the meat, I'm getting the veggie, but yeah, stew.
Who's the one who is responsible for this canyon obsession, Randy?
That would be her. Absolutely. I just come along for the fun, and just for the challenge of it. I really do love this place. It's just always changing, very different every time. Even the same trails, you see something different that you haven't seen before, and it's just spectacular. And it humbles you, for sure.
Very small.
Yeah. And it's a challenge, and I enjoy that.
Bethany, we were talking about just where this obsession with you came from, and I asked you where you were from. I didn't know. I assumed it would have been, since you're here so often, Phoenix or Vegas or maybe somewhere in California, New Mexico, but no, I kind of said it there in the beginning, but why don't you let us know where you guys are all from?
We are from St. Augustine, Florida, originally from Maryland, but we moved right
5 years ago.
before COVID, yeah. And then we started coming here. There's no elevation in Florida. Training there is impossible. So when we get here, we get a little bit of a rude awakening of our abilities physically and mentally. Randy has some choice words for me on the trail most of the time. But it's an obsession. It's like the first time you get a tattoo. Anybody with tattoos will know exactly what I mean. You're walking out of that tattoo studio and you're ready to get the next one. And I'm walking out of this place already planning the next trip in my head. And I'm sure he does not like to hear that, but you get obsessed with this place. Absolutely obsessed.
Well, how did it happen? When was your first time here, and why did you decide that you were just going to keep coming back time and time again?
You want my why?
Oh, I do want your why.
You want my why?
You've been paying attention, yes.
Oh,
I want your why.
You want my why. Nobody's ever asked me this before. I am making up for lost time. I think we came in here a couple years before, but the last 2 years we've been here to celebrate my birthday, our anniversary, and surviving cancer. So my why is I spent just about my entire 30s undergoing cancer and chemo treatment for stage 4 lymphoma. So for me, I had a lot of complications. I had to have open heart surgery. My port caused a blood clot in my right atrium, the size of a golf ball. So I shouldn't be here. I really shouldn't. ×2, I shouldn't be here. So I kind of feel like I missed out on a lot of stuff. And now, somehow, I can physically do it. So I'm here doing it. Because why not? And it's gorgeous. Look at this place. Just gorgeous.
So what is it about this place that really feeds your soul and makes you feel like you are making up for missed time?
I think the breeze that luckily we're getting right now, which feels really nice. The water for me, that's why I like it down here so much, because you can hear the water, you can see the water. There's just this cleansing. I'm not a religious person. I wouldn't say I'm a spiritual person, but when I'm down here, you kind of hard to not be like, wow, how small you feel, but also how powerful you feel, but how powerful this place is. It's just, I cry every time I pull up to the South Rim. And it's just a little tear. And I try to wipe it away so nobody sees it. But I mean, it's just gorgeous. If you have the ability to physically get down here, and I didn't for so long, to have that now, you have to take advantage of it.
Randy, what was that like going through that with her?
It was tough. I mean, she was a trooper. it was pretty well along, and her survival chances were kind of low, especially after the open heart surgery. You said it was like a 15% chance.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they did not think I was going to survive that. So that was a rough surgery to survive.
So it was tough. So that's why I do support her when she's trying to do any of these events, and she has other things planned for us, other hikes, and maybe some different parks too, just to experience it. But we'll probably just keep coming back here.
How can you not?
So now we know, Randy, why you go along with this. No matter what. It goes way beyond happy wife, happy life, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
We start the hike normally with an "I love you," and he always says it first, and it's always a beautiful smile on his face, just like happy you're at the top. And then we kind of get a couple miles in. I think it was, I don't know where it was. Was it the corkscrew? You looked at me and you said, "I think I still love you," with a question mark. But yeah, his favorite. What was your favorite? I go down the SK, which is my favorite trail in
It's the best.
this entire place. My favorite trail, and I have all these favorite places on the trail, and I'm like, oh, here comes my favorite spot. And I have another favorite spot, and another favorite spot, and I pull my camera out, and we have the same pictures every year after year after year. But it's fun. And so I asked him his favorite spot today, coming down.
What was it? What was it, Randy?
I said the picnic bench at Phantom Ranch.
So here we are.
Very profound.
Exactly. Too many to pick from, actually. That's the real
You
reason.
are such a liar.
It is so spectacular, and it's funny because this morning, let me tell you how this all happens, folks. If you happen to be in our Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show Facebook group, and you happen to mention that you're going to be in the canyon the next day, and I happen to be going to the canyon the next day, well, let's just say you might get a direct message from me saying, "Hey, let's meet up so we can do a podcast and I can hear your story and we can tell everyone your story and we can talk canyon in the most beautiful place in the world." That's what happened with Bethany last night. And this morning, you sent me a message and you said you guys were supposed to start at 6 a.m. and you waited a couple of hours. And why is that?
I woke up and I saw that it was 54 degrees and it has 60% chance of rain. And
this is August.
Yeah, I was like, I think we'll wait this one out a little bit. The temperatures in the canyon were cooler significantly by 5-6 degrees, so I wasn't too worried. Yeah, there were some flood issues, and we've never had to deal with that on the trail, so it was new for me, and it freaked me out a little bit. So I kind of wanted to wait it out to see what was exactly going on, and then it warmed up, and the chances of rain slowed down, and we came down at 8:10. I think we got onto the trail. Yeah. Slow but sure walk down.
So we violated don't hike in the summer between 10 and 4.
But this is a different day. This is the so I've been watching. I knew I was going to come up this week. I live in Phoenix, so it's really easy for me to get up here. It's 3 hours and 15 minutes, and I'm standing at the South Rim. I know it makes you jealous, doesn't it? As obsessed as you are, but I knew last week that I was going to come up this week. And it was going to be on Monday or Tuesday, and today is Thursday, and it's August 22nd, I think, today. Mm-hmm. And I was watching the forecast, and it's hellacious. June, July, August, into September. It's hellacious anywhere in Arizona. But I noticed that on Thursday, it started to say, chance of thunderstorms. And I was looking at the high at Phantom Ranch, and it got down into the 80s, which is unheard of this time of year. It's always over 100 degrees down here and bright sunshine and just beating you to death. So I was like, I'm coming up on Thursday. And I came down just to, over the last 2 or 3 hours. And I got poured on below Skeleton Point. And it was the most spectacular trip I've ever had down South Kaibab, because I've never done it in the rain before. And yeah, it got super slick. And I almost wish I had like micro spikes, like it was ice in the wintertime. But seeing as the storm broke up, seeing the rays of light and seeing waterfalls on the canyon walls way off in the distance, and just the cloud formations, and it was the most spectacular hike down that I've ever had. So what I'm trying to say is we got lucky today, and now we're sitting here right now, and it is very pleasant out, isn't it? It's 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's supposed to be the hottest part of the day.
It's beautiful. The breeze is really, I think, what's making it for us. Being so close to the creek, that creek is so cool. Probably is helping, and the thunder is rolling right now.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The thunder. I counted one time. a big thunder boomer went off there below Skeleton, and it just echoes off the walls in the distance for like 20 or 30 seconds. Wow. Unbelievable. Oh my God, it's so cool. It's getting breezy right now. I hope that's not destroying our audio. But if it is, it is. It's not a hot breeze. It's almost a cool breeze.
It's cool. Yeah.
This just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen this time of year. We are so lucky. We're so lucky.
We seem to get really lucky. We really do seem to get very lucky. I've always been able to get permits when I wanted them. I got the Phantom Ranch coming and going. And now the nice weather. So maybe I just need to come here more often.
Yeah. Right, Randy?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Tell us about what the itinerary is, because we're talking a 6-day rim to rim to rim. So that's a lot of logistics you got to deal with. And you guys are, by the way, you are going to eventually run into some serious heat issues.
Yes.
That's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But including the fact that you're going up to the North Rim for the first time, just tell us what the itinerary is.
So we did SK to Phantom Ranch to Cottonwood to the North Rim. We're going to be 2 nights at the North Rim, just chilling out, relaxing, wandering around, seeing what trouble we can get into up there.
And first time in North Rim.
First time in the North Rim, so we're really excited about that. And then we're coming back down Cottonwood, and then Phantom Ranch again, luckily, and then back out the Bright Angel to Havasupai, and then back out, and we're going right to Phoenix and flying out the next morning. So it was kind of a quick trip for us. I know it sounds long to most people, but we normally spend a little bit more time here. It didn't work out that way this time.
Well, 6 nights is a long time. Is that too long? Is that a good amount of time? Are you guys going to have different answers to this?
So we are probably going to have different answers to this. I could live down here for months at a time and not bat an eye. Randy?
Hear that thunder?
We'll see, I guess. Yeah.
She made that statement, and then the thunder went. Dude, Randy, you got no say in this matter.
I just, like I said, I tag along.
He does.
I'm easygoing.
He does. He doesn't question. I do a lot of itineraries. We've done Iceland, 2 weeks in Iceland. We go all over. We do Joshua Tree. Those are totally 2 different places, obviously, but I tend to really book us some fun stuff and obsess over it. It's an obsession. That's pretty
apparent. What do you think what have you learned the most? What have you learned about yourself coming down to a place like this? Because it's such a physical challenge to do this. You've been through so much. I'm pretty sure you told me before we started rolling here that you went through spine surgery not too long ago.
Yeah.
So what kind of things is the canyon teaching you physically and not just mentally, but physically as well?
To not stop. You just can't stop. I'm lucky. Most people can't have spine surgery and then be down here a couple months later.
Is that what it was, just 2 months ago?
No, it was a couple. What was it? It was May.
So 3 whole months ago, you had spine surgery, and now you're hiking the Grand Canyon.
It was cervical spine surgery. They had to replace some discs in my neck, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to carry a backpack. So like I told you before, we booked not knowing if I was going to have to cancel it or not. We also had a yoga retreat that I wasn't sure in Mexico that if I was going to be able to do or not, and I did that. So I was pretty confident I could come down here, but just not stopping. But again, I'm really lucky. There's people that, other cancer fighters who have lost the battle that I sent so many videos to just so they can experience it, knowing that they weren't going to be able to come down at any point. And they enjoyed the videos so much. So I like to share. My Facebook profile, if you see it, I have most of my trips all public. All my private stuff I just don't post publicly, but I belong to a lot of groups and I like people to go on and see, and I try to make sure everybody sees the stops that we make because I want someone to see that and be like, oh, I'm going to go there too. How can I do that? I get messages all the time from people. Can you send me your itinerary? How did you do this? I learned, I guess you can't have an ego down here at all, ever. The canyon will win every time. No matter how good you are, no matter how fast you are, something is going to hurt when you come out of here. With that said, I learned a lot about other people, really, mostly talking to people up on the rim, down here, up there. People don't research their stuff, and it's scary. A couple days ago, we were talking to a family. they had 2 adult children, and they were going to leave in the afternoon, go down Bright Angel, and come down to the river and turn around back around. Hopefully, they would have not done that. Hopefully, they would have gotten tired and stopped. But I was like, you can't do that. That is not a safe thing to do. The temperatures were too high. And they weren't hikers. They were probably physically active people, but they did not know what they were getting themselves into. They had a couple bottles of water and some M&Ms or something. So I sent them back to the store to get salty snacks and said, go down to the first rest stop and turn around. And if you really feel like going down to the second one, but you have to talk to people because people don't realize the dangers. And when I was telling them the dangers, they were like shocked. No matter how many signs or on any of the trailheads or any links to any of the websites that National Park Service puts out, it's really scary. People just don't know their stuff.
You know, Dr. Myers, who's on this show regularly, calls it the grand deception, because you stand up there on the South Rim and you look down and you can see 3 Mile Rest House, you can see Havasupai Gardens, you can see Plateau Point, and they don't look that far. And then you get started down that trail and you're going downhill. It's not hard, right? It's easy. And people don't consider the fact that they have to turn around and go back up again. So I think the grand deception is a perfect way to put it, and people fall into that trap, and sometimes they fall into that trap and don't realize it until it's too late, and you're talking about a rescue or worse. It's interesting that you would step in and, you know, talk to people that strongly, and you were telling me that, I mean, I think there's a reason for that, because you'd like to be a part of the PSAR program here, the Preventative Search and Rescue Program. I
would. I thought about volunteering last year, but I needed to get my certifications back up. I was a first responder, but in the urban setting back in college a bajillion years ago. And I wanted to take it wilderness, and I have the knowledge, but I didn't have the certifications behind it. So I went to through Knowles and Solo and got certifications for wilderness first aid and then wilderness first responder, and had a great time doing it. And I just applied this past week for hopefully a PSAR position. Fingers are crossed. I know there's a lot of people that absolutely come here every year and do that, but I'm hoping it can help my addiction and help some people along the way.
Let's talk about the fact that you have to train in Florida, that you're a flatlander. So how do people, what's the best way to be ready for the canyon by being in a place where there's no elevation?
When we first decided we were coming out years ago, I bought a wooden box that I stepped up on and down on about 4,000 times. And that didn't feel very good on my hip. So I stopped doing that. And then we started climbing a bridge that we have one bridge in Florida, and it goes up to an elevation of maybe like 45. It's laughable.
So up and down,
It's just a mile long almost bridge. And we take our packs, and then
stair stepper at the gym.
Stair stepper at the gym.
About the only thing we have, really.
But my favorite time to come, Randy probably disagree, my favorite time is the summer. And that's the most dangerous time to come to the Grand Canyon, but it's my favorite. I enjoy it the most. I do a lot of Bikram yoga. It's a series of 26 postures and 105 degrees. And I do it a lot. And that gets me accustomed to the heat. And then whenever we come out, we have to get accustomed to elevation for a couple of days before going in. So experienced hikers, if you're not used to this elevation, you have to get used to it up at the top before coming in, or you will have some issues. Yeah, some physical issues. Altitude sickness is very real.
How do you handle your hydration and nutrition?
Ooh, we overpack food probably.
We all do.
Hydration, I've got a 3-liter bladder that gets me down, the SK. And then we have one of these guys that has Noon in it, which it currently has, and we just share it, suck on it.
Just about a 32-ounce plastic bottle.
Yeah, and I just put one tablet in.
And you said Noon?
Noon.
What is Noon?
Noon, electrolyte. You have to have your electrolytes. If you do not, and all you do is drink water, then you have an overhydration problem. If you don't drink enough water, you have a dehydration problem. It's a delicate balance out here. It's really dangerous in the summer. You have got to be prepared and educated on how to eat and drink. We make sure we stayed hydrated up on the rim. A week before going in, we're extra hydrated, just making sure we are constantly drinking our water, especially on an airplane ride out. That it's just stuff you have to do more of, I think. And then food, a lot of ramen noodles.
Salty snacks.
Like what kind of snacks specifically?
Combos, things that you really shouldn't eat, but you have an excuse to.
Isn't that awesome?
Peanut butter pretzels for the salt as well. We have nut snacks. What else do we have? We do peanut butter jelly bagels. The ramen noodles, and then some other camping meals that are pretty salty.
He gets sick of the ramen noodles quite a bit, so he has the prepackaged add water. I like the ramen noodles because they throw a whole bunch of dehydrated veggies in there, and it makes like a nice soup.
When you guys are on the trail, do you have to force yourselves to eat? I mean, I always find myself, it's a struggle in the middle of a long hike. You just don't feel like it, but you're hurting yourself when you're not. Do you guys find that? Do you have ways to make yourself eat, or are you just hungry?
I think he likes to stop because of his feet. So when we stop, we'll have a snack or drink some of the electrolytes and then continue on. This trip, honestly, we stopped a lot less just because we were so worried about the rain and trying to beat it. And we just beat it. We just beat it by minutes. I didn't want my pack to get wet. We covered them, but I just didn't feel like getting soaked.
But it is, forced eating sometimes. We say, okay, we have to have a snack. Even if it's a little bit, it's make sure that we stay full, but not over full. So we do force ourselves a couple times to eat something.
What is it, 2 to 3 times what you normally eat? I think they recommend calorie-wise. Yeah. We don't do that. We can't do that. I would be too full.
I relate to that, the gleam in your eye that you kind of had there, Randy, when it's like stuff you're not supposed to be eating, but you get to eat.
Potato chips.
I mean, I'm never, potato. So this is me on the way down. It was eating potato chips and Sour Patch Kids and a Snickers bar and Mike and Ike's. Yeah. Just trying to find something that's going to subsist and keep me going. But you do feel kind of like, and then my reward at the end is when I'm driving home and I drive through Flagstaff, it's a milkshake from Chick-fil-A.
Oh, nice.
Yes, that's the reward at the end. I'll be having that tonight. Cookies and cream, obviously.
Ridiculous question. My apologies.
Well, you're not going to be getting any milkshakes at Phantom Ranch tonight, but you guys do have dinner coming up.
This is actually our first time dining at the canteen inside because we came after COVID and everything was out on benches and they came out in little plastic, the paper boxes and then we throw them away. Now. So now it's fine dining. It's the hardest restaurant and hotel to get to.
It is. It's one of the hardest hotel reservations in the entire world.
People have no idea.
No, people don't have any idea. So you guys are in for a great time, and I am so grateful that you took the time to speak with us here tonight. Is it this afternoon still? I think it is, but it's so dark, and the thunder's going. And it looks like the South Rim is getting it right now. And that's where I'm headed. So you guys are headed north. Let's see up there. It doesn't look quite as bad, but they got hammered earlier. This is just so awesome. Right? You guys get tons of, you get weather like this in Florida, like all the thunderstorms like this all the time, but it's a little bit different with this kind of scenery, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very humid and hot there. This is ideal. It's nice and dry. So when it does stop raining, everything kind of dries up pretty fast.
Well, enjoy this day because, like I said, this is one day in August of 2024. You guys have 5 days to go, and you're going to face the heat at some point, but you're also going to get to enjoy the cool pines of the North Rim and soaking in that whole vibe. Randy and Bethany, you guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Bethany and Randy Pace among the ranks of the Canyon Obsessed. Well, I did hear from Bethany from the North Rim just a couple days after we spoke. First of all, she did say that the North Rim is as advertised. Absolutely gorgeous. Unfortunately, though, the North Rim also marked the end of their hike. It seems Randy had a toe injury, and Bethany, fearing an infection for him, decided that they should not push their luck. So they bailed on the return hike to the South Rim instead. No doubt giving Bethany still another reason to come back to the canyon and take another run at it, and likely giving Randy even less say in the matter next time.
So Bethany wins either way. But in all seriousness, it was probably a very smart decision to bail out when they did, and there is absolutely no shame in doing so. Better to bail out on one of the rims than it is to dip back below the rim and get yourself in trouble and need to be rescued. All right, well, it wouldn't be a show without Coach Arnie, of course, and this time our resident exercise physiologist training tip is more about what it means to hike the canyon in a group.
Today I want to talk about what I call group mindset. Lately there have been a lot of questions. There's been some crazy stories that have happened with groups. I've been on groups. I've coached groups. So I want to share first a little bit about my background. I'm a coach. I coach football and wrestling and all kind of sports. And I'm also an exercise physiologist. But my coaching mindset has allowed me to help groups. But I want to go over with you some points that I have used when I coach groups, and maybe it will help you guys, because groups are tough. It's especially because most groups are families and friends, and with families and friends it gets very emotional. So you got to be very careful when you're in those kinds of groups because of the emotion involved. But first of all, the first thing I look at is good planning. So if your group is doing some good planning, you're in a good position, and you're probably going to have a better adventure. And then the next step is practice. Are the members of the team practicing what the plan is all about? And how do you know? You have regular team meetings. Anytime I've had an adventure in the canyon especially, we have had regular team meetings to make sure that everybody is on the same page. And are there any questions that can be answered months in advance rather than waiting a week in advance? So you have regular team meetings. The next point is contingencies. What are some contingencies? We've developed contingencies for weather, for all kinds of things. Injuries, what's going to happen if something happens, and, what are you going to do? You've got to have these contingencies, these alternate plans that you can move and put into action very quickly. And then a big one is, who's the sheepdog? And what is a sheepdog? Well, a sheepdog is the one that protects the group and watches for predators, things that could harm the group. You've got to be on high alert. A sheepdog has to be many times the most fit, the most healthy. They have to be ready to go into action and help. They have to guard the group. So who's the sheepdog? And then lastly, the last 2 points I always got to throw in is you're going to get your group a lot further along by loving and encouraging them. And you're going to have, if you're having fun, if you make it fun, you have a better chance of the group doing better. So you got to love and encourage, and you got to make it fun. Or why are you doing this? Those are some of my points that I like to teach, that I bring into my groups that I do. And it doesn't always happen that way, but those are the things that we talk about. I love you guys. This is Coach Arnie. Have a great, great week, and I'll talk to you later.
That is Coach Arnie Fonseca Jr. His contact information is in the show notes. Plenty of you have reached out to Coach, and he loves it, believe me. So please do not be shy. And he also does hang out as one of our group experts in the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show Facebook group, so you can always reach out to him there as well if you do prefer. Hey, if you want to support the show, please check out brightangeloutfitters.com for hoodies, tees, and of course, our one-of-a-kind rim-to-rim pack, the day pack with front pockets designed through my own hundreds of miles below the rim. Get 10% off with the code HIKERDUDE. That's at brightangeloutfitters.com. While you're there, you can also check out our totally free resources, such as the Grand Canyon Shade Tracker, an interactive map which lets you see when and where you'll find shade on your hike, no matter the day, no matter the time. That is all at brightangeloutfitters.com, where we exist to help you hike your best hike. Again, use that discount code for 10% off. gchikerdude at brightangeloutfitters.com. All right, that's it for now. My name is Brian Special, encouraging you, as always, to go hike the canyon. Take that first step, embrace the journey, and when you get there, whether it's for time goals or taking your time, just hike your own hike and enjoy every step in one of the most magical landscapes on the planet. We'll see you next time on the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, presented by Bright Angel Outfitters.